road to Pyeongchang continues here in Innsbruck in Austria, double Olympic venue, setting us up for the final race of the 2017 annual season and the European Championships. Hello everybody, we're getting ready for the first run in the men's skeleton competition, the 5th World Cup of the season. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me trackside here is John Morgan. And John, this Innsbruck track, one of the oldest artificial tracks on the planet, but still a challenge to find speed.
You know, a little bit like the track last week in Winterberg. It's short in nature, very slow speeds up top, and it really mandates to the athletes no mistakes up here in this long straightaway. Unlike Winterberg, which had that little chink after 200 meters. And up here, it almost lulls you to sleep, and because it's so slow, but it's so meticulous in the entrance to the curves. Take on is where you get on. The outlet here is where you get off. And you have to set yourself up to get on and off the curve here. No skidding allowed. Up top, 4, 5, 6. Now the pivotal part of the track, like Winterberg, it's got a big Kreisel in it. The first track to put a Kreisel in it for the 1976 Olympic Games. And now curve 8, and this speed now starts to accelerate. Curve 9, the pivotal part of the track. You need to get a perfect line into this big sweeping left 10, three-corner combination, the labyrinth. Every track's got one, and this is where speeds get pretty quick, especially in skeleton. You can see the helmet inches off the ice. Finish curve goes uphill, and then this is where the adventure starts.
Well, the track
they
record.
Got to stop here, Mark.
Yeah,
that's what the challenge is. Watch this. Bang. I mean, they have to stop their win. That's pretty exciting.
Yes, it is. It's pretty wild in the finishing corner. Martin Stukor's multiple winner here, but it's Sunbin Young, a multiple winner this season with 3 straight race wins, who is our World Cup points leader ahead of brothers Martins and Thomas Dukors. And some new names to conjure with in the top 20 and some returning names. John Daly, for instance, returning to World Cup action this year for the first time after 4-year layoff. Returned to racing last year to come back to the Olympic Games. Well, we've got a big field here of 36 athletes. So not just the World Cup race at stake, but the European Championships as well. There's your reigning European champion, Martin Stukor's. He and brother Thomas went 1-2 last year in the Europeans in Winterberg. And for the first race day of this weekend, it is clear. Air temperatures hovering around 2 degrees, ice at -2. It's been snowing on and off all week, but it's a clear day today. Unlikely to be, I'm afraid, for the rest of the weekend, but at least today we've got this beautiful view of the mountains around Innsbruck. Well, on this bumper start list, it's Switzerland's Ronald Arderset and Riek Graf who go off first. And with 32 sleds in the field, more than a third, 36 rather in the field, more than a third, and getting on for half of everybody who starts today won't get a second heat because only the fastest 20 go through. So, John, you can really tell it's an Olympic season, can't you? Racked up starters.
There's a lot to do with the results of this race today that have determined people's chance to march in the Olympic parade. And it's getting a little tense up there. You can see it in some of the athletes' faces.
Race 5 of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup. It is Ronald Arderset, the 28-year-old Swiss, who gets us underway. Didn't race in Winterberg last week, and he has not made the cut so far this season.
This is almost a Swiss home track. Their track, St. is in the final stages of being built. That natural track up there, the birthplace of the sport, will be there in about a month's time from now.
It'll be the final qualifying race for the games. Out of the Kreisel, good exit, just a little toe steer. He was a little bit to the left.
Early on to 9, that's going to cause him, didn't cause him anything.
Nice polished track this morning. They've trained in snow. They missed a day of training, so everybody's had 4 trips down the track rather than 6 to dial themselves in. Good-looking run from Ronald Arderset, but it is going to be really tough to make the race here.
The finish line there. That's doesn't sound like much, but I'll guarantee you, between the 20th and the 21st lap, there's not going to be too many hundredths in a second.
Nope.
Every hundredth on this short 76 Olympic track, it counts. Start, now they're looking at the start grooves, and watch the way you launch. Look at them bouncing up and down, and you know, that's friction, and you want to get on there with, like in bobsledding, cat-like movement and don't alter anything.
fast starter. Ronald Alderset made his debut here in the World Championships a couple of years ago. Rick Graff, the 24-year-old, second time this season he's drawn start number 2 in Whistler and in Winterberg. And in Winterberg, last time out, he got his first top 20 run of the season. See the colours of Graubünden, the canton in Switzerland that houses St. Moritz on his helmet.
Yeah, that 20th, making the cut, surprised us. You know, he hasn't been doing it. One of the taller athletes in the field.
6'4.5", one of the youngest as well at 24.
Matt Antoine of the United States is coming up. 48.7 kilometers. Keep your eyes on that speed.
He started in 5:22. His teammate Ronald Alderset 5:03. So he's behind right from the start.
And it's pretty tough to overcome it. 39 to 42. He'll stop the bleeding, but he'll probably run out of track here in the bottom to try and catch his teammate.
About exit from the Kreisel. Let's see the big corner 9.
42 to 42. And now we should eat into that a little bit. Speed is better.
Head and shoulders up a little bit.
Just going to run out of track. He'll probably be down 20 hundredths or in the teens behind. Good line, good form. Doesn't tap. There's the teens.
19 hundredths in the start, 17 hundredths behind.
At the bottom. So he's, if the two athletes from Switzerland could combine their start ability to their downtime ability, they'd have a chance to get in the top 20.
Yeah.
54.85, Martin. If we start to think now with the track record 51.86, we're not going to see that. These are good lines here. Out of 9. This is where he got his speed and took a 4,200 deficit and got it down to 17 by the time he was finished. I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Third of our starters is the first of our Austrians and the first of our Auers as well. Brothers Florian and Alex Auer both racing here. 23-year-old Florian, the younger of the pair. And their father, Christian Auer, like Mickey Grumberger, the coach who's holding the sled, were a multiple race winner in the early days. He's skeleton, a world champion as well.
93 world champion. It's great at the World Championships there in 1995 to see a picture of him with his two sons on either side of him in the finish.
Yeah.
Family tradition here. The sport is a family.
8th World Cup for Florian in his career. He's never raced here in the World Cup, but he's raced here in the junior divisions.
2100s down, that's relative to the 1300s, 1100s down at the start. Now, he should stop the bleeding. 88.6 isn't bad. In fact, that's the second best speed.
This, of course, is his home track.
17.
Head up and shoulders up, though. Only 4 trips down this week.
Up there, but his speed is good. 97.6, I think, is the better speed. Top speed. On the bottom, it's going green numbers, so he caught him. Home track advantage.
Well, there you go. He knows the ice well. It's where he learned to slide. Although I was talking to brother Alex, he said, bizarrely, we spend much more time in places like Altenburg than we do here in Innsbruck.
Königsberg.
Yeah.
You know, the track just isn't open here early enough for them to take advantage of it. But obviously, home track advantage there. Deficient start, and he turned it into the best time at the bottom with good lines. Didn't make the cut last week in Winterberg, and nothing would make him happy more than qualifying for the second run of this event.
Yeah. 22nd last week. Beat his brother, though, who was 25th.
What kind of conversation is that?
That's the way it is. Next up, 30-year-old Norwegian Alex Hansen, Snorre Pedersen, former Norwegian slider, holding the sled. 5th ever World Cup start for him. He raced here last in November 16 in the Intercontinental Cup. That's the second tier of sliding, and in fact, that's his only actual race here.
Great starter. He's been showing that all the time. He qualified. His best race was in Whistler, 13 fastest. Of course, he's got a lot of experience in the track.
He's basically a North American slider.
27 to get up to probably 30, 35 the next time. Probably get neutralized. And that's game just trying to hang on the bottom. 88.7. The best speed.
5 miles an hour at that stage. 6 down to the Kreisel.
Now it'll start coming back to us, especially with that late exit of 9. 95.8. That's not the speed that the hour had.
Losing ground.
Probably red numbers here right now. Right there. It's going to be, yeah, he's hanging in there.
foggy down the bottom all of a sudden, but he's 1500s back.
Snor, looking on, knows that he's got a good athlete at the start.
Yeah.
But you saw the
it's
ride down the
experience,
track.
isn't it?
Yeah, you could see the ride down the track. That was the worst ride of the 4 down the track, the best starter.
Fifth ever World Cup race, so he's got a lot of time to develop that.
Well, you know, when you got to start like he does, you got a chance. And here's curve 9. Watch him come down and comes back up. In the next picture, you're going to see him come out and tap the wall on our right side, his left. See, and this is not the way to slingshot your effect into the second fast part of the track. There's
Christian Brother, yeah, helping out the Norwegians.
2008 World Cup champion, world champion,
and European champion. Yeah,
this
won
is
it all.
Dublin. This is the European Championship race.
It is indeed.
We haven't brought that up yet, so it's a double event. Real important to the Europeans.
Nick Timming shouts brother Dean off at the top. The twins both competing in the World Cup this season. This is Dean's second World Cup start of the year. 5:19 getaway. It's his 7th ever World Cup. He made his debut here in February 2015. Also raced in Innsbruck in the World Championships in February 2016.
One start so far, 27th in Whistler.
Yeah.
Leads off the mark. He's number 5 all the way down. 5, 4th in the start, but the speeds and times are 5.
Long skin. You know, he's only raced here twice in his career, and when you only have 2 days of training, one of which was snowing the track and one of which was ice, you know,
Look at the fog come in, though. It is.
We've got a lot of sleds to get through. We could do without that fog coming down any lower.
Plus the fact the fog's coming into the fastest part of the track, which is, I guess you're going to be flying hard.
Well, sight lines are very short here. You know, you don't need a long distance to see, but you do need at least to be able to see.
There's no GPS on these sleds.
That's for sure.
Curve 9, pivotal part of the track. His feet are apart, struggling to get through there. And then the exit, see his feet apart. He's trying to get control, and he's got a drift. And now he's got a sideways skid and not really in good control, but related to the experience.
Look how shiny and icy and hard the track is. You know, there was an inch or 2 of snow when they were sliding in it the other day. Florian Auer, the leader, 5 of 36 sleds down here in Innsbruck. 6th starter of the day, Axel Jung, the 26-year-old from Dresden. 3rd in Park City, his first medal of the season. He was 4th here last year and in the Worlds the year before.
Great start, 488. Near that start record of 472.
Well, I tell you what, that's not bad. That's over 1,600 away already.
We're going to see somebody in the 70s.
Might see the next guy, Nikita Tregibov or Sunbin Young. Good looking slide from Axel Jung.
Well, this police administrator, like all of the German athletes, all related to some kind of a military job.
He's got definite top 4 or 5 potential on this track. Let's see if he can translate that into a result today. Good exit out of corner 9, really nice. There's the feel for the track that you didn't see with Dean Timmings, who really doesn't know the track as well as Axel does.
6th last week in Winnipeg, surprise of 6th. 3rd in Park City, so he has medaled once. He's 4th in World Cup points. 53.68, almost a full second ahead of Florian Auer. Now we can start to look at the time. I would say a 53.55 is going to be the time. Martin, I'm putting that down right now. 53.55 is going to be the qualifying time. And viewers at home.
Yeah, can't see any of our top 5 making the cut, but Axel Jung should be firmly in the top 10 and at least halfway up there.
Yeah, nice technique, but that's, all the Germans have a nice technique.
There is Axel Jung. We start the run-in, or the cascade, the gallop downhill into the Olympics at his home track in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. Nikita Tregibov next up. Silver medalist in Whistler, 3rd here in 2015. 22-year-old junior Russian rocket. What about his start? 492, outstarted by Axel Jung.
A little off the pace, 14th last week in Winterberg. which I think was related to he got a snow run because the event before that in Whistler, he was our silver medalist. 600s back.
We've only had 2 different race winners in men's skeleton, but 6 different medalists out of a possible 12.
Look at this. He's taking the best speed lines, taking a negative into the positive green numbers and doing it very, very precisely. Speed, nobody's had that type of speed. He's got the number speeds, the best times. This will be the leader, and this is a big separation from Axel Young to be over a quarter second ahead on this track.
Wow, he's
Whoa,
flying.
53.31. Wow, that's a great time for this junior Russian rocket.
Right.
Very impressive.
Now going to reassess where Axel Jung will end up. If he is a 3700s back now, he may not be in the top 10 off that run.
Boy, right off the bat, right at the start. Second best start, but up here in the top of the track, this is 8. He did everything right. Every acceleration point he hit perfectly. And I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, that was a 10. That I got to believe that's a top 5 run at least.
Yeah, could well be back in the medals. Well, we're going to find out in a moment or two, because next up is our reigning European champion and a man with 8 straight wins on this track, including the World Championships in 2015. In fact, the last time he was not on the podium was 2006. So
this will be high 70s, low 80s. 90.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa, that's surprising. Because he usually outstarts Axel Young.
Yeah.
Now, 50.4 though. I mean, you know what that means.
Well, that's the fastest speed we've seen at the first sector, 31.3 miles an hour, quicker than Axel Jung, who outstarted him. 56.0 miles an hour, quicker than Tregibov, so he's extending his lead little by little. But it's not about Tregibov or Jung, it's about the next guy for Martin Stukurz.
Boy, almost near the 100-kilometer mark.
62.1 miles an hour, still quicker, just creeping away.
Wow, he's just flying.
But Tregibov had better speed at the bottom, so the gap won't grow. 53.15 for Martin Stukurz.
Surprised at the start, though.
Is Stukurz still testing stuff? I mean, we're not far out from the games, but at the moment, having just been beaten by Sun Bin Yun 3 straight races, I'm sure he and his brother Thomas and his father Dennis are working on equipment setup.
And watch him drift into this first curve. See that little red mark? That's the take-on where you get on the curve. He's choosing to get in there early. That might be the line, because without the best start, he still had the best acceleration speed.
The European champion is the race leader with 8 sleds down. 9th, though, is our 3-time race winner this season, wearing the World Cup leaders' yellow jersey. Sled being held by builder Richard Bromley. And Richard is exclusively building this development Bromley sled for Sun Bin Yun.
Look at his stride. And then the power.
Astonishing speed.
Dives onto that sled, and this has got to be in the 80s. 85, best start. Now watch the speeds. 50.4 kilometers is what? 50.5. I say that's an advantage for Dukars, because I would think Sun Bin Yun would have had better than that.
Well, let's see what this Bromley sled can do.
600's better now.
Yeah, let's see what he can do down the ice. Axel Jung may be 3700s back, or 5300s back off the leader, but he only was outstarted by 300s by Yun.
99.
Oh, gap's coming down.
Yeah, 99.9 was what our Superman speed was. 99.5, not the same speed, so this could be into red numbers, or it could be right to the 100th of a second. Take your pick.
118.3, that's 73 and a half.
Speed's not there. This is one of the first heats the Korean has been beat on in the last 3 events.
Since Lake Placid, he's not been behind in any heat. It's only 700s. Richard Bromley will take that.
Look at this. Look at this. Look, he goes way up, though. Watch out. He went through the padding.
Yeah. Only 4 training runs, so they're not quite as dialed in.
But go back to the replay they showed us for Martin Stukurz. He did not have great speed, but better velocity. And right off the bat, he neutralized the start advantage that the Korean had over him. And These are not bad lines, Martin, but he was losing speed all the way down the track. And we're saying he's losing speed. He's second by, what, 500s, 700s?
Being suggested that Martin Stucos might have been limping a little with his right leg at the start. And that is not what you need in Innsbruck. This is a speed track. European bronze medalist last year, Alexander Tretyakov. The 32-year-old has had 6 straight silver medals here.
He's gone.
Oh,
he's
and
gone.
again, second race in a row.
Gone.
Second heat in a row.
He will not make the cut now. Unbelievable.
He won back here in 2006, beating Daniel Meschler and Gregor Staley, the Swiss pair, and has not been off the podium ever since. Today,
the Russians have had such, for the problems we're going on.
He popped the groove in the second heat in Winterberg, didn't he? So that's 2 race heats in a row.
There's a hearing today in Munich, I think, Court of Arbitration of Sport, about his presence in the sport. And I mean, for him to just do, I mean, you have to feel for these Russian athletes, what they've been going through.
Well, right now, what are the speeds? What is 60.4 miles an hour compared to 62.1? So even though he basically fell over and had to pull himself off the ice onto the sled, he's 1.7 miles an hour only down on Tregibov at the bottom. Only.
I want to see his expression. I mean, he punched the wall last week in Winterberg. He got up and punched. We've never seen emotion out of this athlete in 10 years to what we saw last week when he punched the wall. This time...
He can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
You talk about a walk of shame.
Look at this. It's like 3 steps in. It's out of the groove.
Way out of the groove. And then look at it. How many? You never see anybody on the ice like this at the start.
And look, he lands on the saddle. Just think the pain that endures. Or induces. Blimey. Wow. High drama from Alexander Tretyakov. Martin Stucos leads by a whisker from Sunbin Yun. Now then, one slider pops the start groove. Thomas Stucos is always running just that bit further away from the sled.
Look how early he got on first curve, just like his brother.
Yeah.
So let's watch the speed here. 50.2, 49.7. So his speed is half a kilometer now, which is a third of a mile an hour. Boy, is that so crucial. Now he's going to bleed out to probably 34, 3,500s back.
European silver medalist last year in Winterberg behind his brother. He's had 3 bronze medals here in the last 5 years, but hasn't been on the podium in the last 2.
3,100s back, but he picked up good speed, 35. He stopped the bleeding. Now let's see if he can eat into that leading time of his brothers and get himself into a podium, which he's used to getting on this track.
I bet the 2 brothers are using slightly different setups here.
He's way off the pace, though.
Yeah, 5th place. He's going to struggle to catch Alex Jung. Axel Jung, and he does by 300s. Pops in front.
Boy, he
of
started
the German.
1,300s behind Axel Jung. But I like that.
Had a lightning getaway.
Lightning getaway for him.
Well, he's getting faster and faster just at the right time, Axel Jung, in his starts. I mean, that's just where he needs to be progressing.
Well, curve 9. You want to exit here with a bullet type release out of that curve, and you know, almost perfect. Oh, he did not touch the wall.
Right now, European bronze position, because Yun, of course, being Korean, doesn't count for European medals. Next up, 33-year-old from Austria, Matthias Guggenberger. 3 Austrians in the field here. Best World Cup here, 9th in 2011. And that's his only top 10 finish on his home track. That was before he had a series of back injuries that really hobbled him for almost a full quadrennial.
He's been injured.
Yeah, he's back fit and healthy this year. 498, that's not a bad getaway.
No, anything at 50 kilometers plus speed here is a positive, and he doesn't get it. You know, we asked the athletes who their favorite athlete is. Guggenberger is very surprised he put down Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah. Well, there's an awful lot of fans of Lindsey Vonn who are skiing fans. And of course, if you're born in Austria, there are only 3 winter sports: alpine skiing, and alpine skiing.
Well, we're FS here covering the event this weekend, so we're good. These are good lines.
Yeah, really nice. Very smooth
Top
run.
6. 98.6, is it bad?
Now, is he going to pip Axel Jung at the line? No, he's a little too far away, but he'll be comfortably ahead of compatriot Florian Auer. Martin Stucos still the race leader. Sixth position.
900's back, 5th best start. And there's his coach, Mickey Gruberger, another former Austrian world champion.
Yep. So Gugi in 6th position. World Championships here in 2016, got a team bronze and was then ill and rushed to hospital, didn't compete in the individual competition.
Start, see if he tries to sneak over to the left side. We didn't see that, but sneaking over into the take-on of that curve is, well, we saw that guy named Dukars do it very successfully.
Next up is our most recent first-time podium finisher. Last week, Dave Kreszczeshin, dialing himself into this new Willi Schneider sled, took his first ever World Cup medal with bronze. The 38-year-old is the oldest man in the field and certainly among the tallest.
And thickest rugby player. Look at him sneak out of that first curve, but I don't think he did it successfully. There's probably be 49 and change speed, which this speed trap right here is so crucial, 49 low. So that's the worst speed I think we've seen almost of anybody. I don't think that entrance to curve 1, I think he hit the take on too early, which caused a deficient speed.
Half a second back. The gap is opening as he gets to the Kreisel. And, you know, like almost everybody, he's going to be fighting to make the second heat here because with only 4 training runs, this is a very difficult track to get a hold on. Conditions were totally different in the 2 days of training. First day was like this, clear. The second day, lots of snow.
Almost tipped over.
And there's the nature of the labyrinth. Get in late and you stay later, latest. 54.12 is a 54 run enough to make the second heat.
Whoa, look at him tear that up, too. There's some force from one of the bigger, heavier guys in the competition. And boy, he was definitely on his shoulder on the exit of 11 to 12.
It's about 100 kilos of man and sled, 125 maybe. Whistling in there at 70-odd miles an hour. That's a lot to stop.
How's this? How's this? Look at that. That's wild.
That's hanging on.
That's at what, 75 miles an hour?
Yeah, that is just
73 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And look at it bounce up, and that's a big guy, way up high, aerodynamic presence. I don't know if that's, you know, I said 53, 55 was the time. I might have to move that to about 53.80.
Next up for the USA, Matt Antoine, 32-year-old. Originally from Wisconsin, now lives in Arizona. The US have not had a medal here in over 11 years.
Come on now, go, 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 go!
Tuffy Latour urging him on. Probably Eric Bertotis or Zach Lund at medal,
one of those guys,
and
I
they're
guess,
coaching the US and the British team, respectively. And there's 5:03, so 49.6 would be a good speed.
Well, Antoine was 4th here in 2011, his best results on the track.
That's some pretty good results all week long.
Yeah.
But of course you couldn't tell because it was snowing so hard.
Well, and also Sunbin Yun was jogging off in the 30s as opposed to the 490s.
9.4s, not bad. He's hanging around 7.65 speed. 41 back, so he stopped the bleeding from the top sled, and that's an excellent line.
Driving
98.9 is pretty good.
Yeah, into contention from an 8th fastest start, 6th on the splits. Is he going to get ahead of Germany's Axel Jung into the top 5?
Might be right about 58 behind.
This should be a top 10 run from Matt Antoine. He is 900s behind Axel Jung. Top 6. Could go quicker. There might be 3 or 4 could threaten to go quicker than that, but that should definitely be a top 10 slide from Antoine.
That's the bronze medalist from the Sochi Games and hasn't captured his start that he used to have. And good technique onto the sled, and considering his start time, which was the 8th best, he had good velocity into that first curve.
And behind him is Zach Lund.
Yeah. He's an Aaron Rodgers fan and just returns to the Green Bay Packers lineup. That'll be a pretty good thing for all them Green Bay fans.
Lots of cheeseheads. 25-year-old Christopher Groothair from Germany next up. 5th in his last 2 outings on this track. Let's see what he can do now.
He's got that early line in like Dukars So you're going to need 49.7 or 8 to challenge.
He's got really
50.
good,
That's excellent.
Really
For
good
that
sliding
speed,
style.
7th best start to have, I would say, top 3 velocity. That tells you his power step and that entrance on a curve 1 that we saw. Dukars was the only person to do it. Thomas did it also, but not as good as his brother. He's 2300ths back, so maybe get out to 35 and he'll stop the bleeding from that point. No, stop the bleeding already.
Yeah, here we go.
So this is a top 3 or 4
Well, this
run.
could challenge Thomas
99.3 is excellent.
Could challenge Nikita Tregibov.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive.
3400s back, well, he's not going to get there because Tregibov's only 1600s off the lead at the bottom, but this could be in front of Thomas Dukars. It is 4th.
7th best time, 4th best down time, Jens Mueller. Look at him waving to stop. He's just hoping his athlete doesn't find some catastrophic move.
Yeah. Don't put your hands out. And just tuck yourself into as small an object as you can when you hit those crash pads.
Another one of the Army-related athletes of the German program. Look at this, head is down. Look at the speed, look at the profile compared to the Grizz that we just saw come down here off his sled.
Well, you get the first steer right, and it stays all the way.
There.
Yeah, there's a big bump on the wall, isn't there, as you come off leg.
Good
Great
speed.
here, 4th. Next German is right up next. It's Alexander Gastner. Martin Stuko is the leader. We have 15 of our 39 sleds down. Alex Gastner, 28-year-old, returned to World Cup action last year when he was in 8th place here in Innsbruck. He's another quick starter. Nice quiet settle onto the sled.
Decent like his teammate, same. See if he's got the 50-kilometer speed like his teammate. Same start. 49.8, 0.2 of a kilometer down. That means his teammate, Grother, had a better entry into the sled and a better line around curve 1.
7th at the start.
Late there.
Up to 6th on the splits. And then out to 7th as he gets to the Kreisel. Now, can he keep himself in the top 10? 8th place in last year's race.
16th last weekend in Winterberg. Very disappointing on a German track. So he's looking to improve, and here he looks like he's going to be in the 6 to 10. Not bad, 1:16.7, not bad. That's 72.5 miles an hour. Right there, 68, 8th.
8th place at the
Just
line.
ahead by 100th ahead of Matthias Fugenberger from Austria.
So the 3 Germans all in the top 8. The season is starting to come together quite nicely.
So I'm going to move my time of 53.55 up to 54 flat now.
Yeah, I think if you're not in the 54s, you're in trouble.
Yeah, so
you're right.
Adjustment. Look at the line. He's still trying to get perfect. You saw his feet turn a little bit, those rudders. And this is upwards about 58 to 60 miles an hour, and then you accelerate quickly into the 70s, exit a 9 into 10. Pretty good lines there. Not a good line last week, though, in Winterberg, and he'd hope to do better.
24-year-old Canadian Kevin Boyer, 17th starter.
He's from Edmonton.
21st here last year, just missed the cut, but 5th fastest start. This is one of his big advantages.
He's got a good start. 49.6, though. With that start, he should have been up near 50. He's 300ths better than the German sleds, and he was 2 kilometers, 0.2 of a kilometer down at that 100-meter mark, which on this track is just everything.
This is only his 12th ever World Cup start. His best results, 12th in Whistler and last week in Winterberg.
He's hanging in there, 10th. But he had that 5th best start.
Yeah.
He's going reverse.
If he can hang on now in the top 10, then that will mean he will be in the second heat.
He's going to be outside of the 54-10 or so.
11th place, and it is a 54.25.
Boy, did he lose a lot of time on the bottom. Wow.
Again, when you've only raced on the track once in your career, you have a dry day and a snow day as your only 2 training days.
With that start that he's got, he stays in the sport with that Canadian Skeleton program. This will be a guy for the future for Canada.
Definitely. Well, and he's young enough as well, just 24.
Look at the lines out of this Kreisel, this 270-degree whip around. You enter and then exit underneath where you entered. And then the exit of 9, he comes out and, almost grazes the other side wall.
So there is Kevin Boyer. 18th starter is Dom Parsons of Great Britain. So first of our British sliders on the ice, Dom Parsons, 13th in the World Cup standings, have a bit of an off-form year this year. 9th on this track last year, 10th in the World Championships the year before.
Yeah, not bad though last week in Wittenberg, 9th. So Wittenberg and Igls have a lot in common. Slow up top of the track. Up here, the speeds are almost bore you because it's so slow. 49.4. That's down there about the 10th, 12th speed. Unlike Whistler or Park City, where you just rock it. Immediately you're going 65 miles an hour in the first 3-4 curves. Here you don't get that until curve 8 or 9.
Now, this is a real old school style track, isn't it?
Well, started with the 13th best start, and he's all over the 13th best number all the way down the track.
Yeah.
This 400-meter runner who's PhD degree in, he's studying for it.
I think,
He's got it. Too smart to probably be a skeleton athlete, but he's here.
Across the line in 11th.
So he did improve. He did improve 54.21. That's in.
Nice and smooth through the labyrinth, Russell. Yeah,
so
it should be.
We're going to move the time again.
54.5, let's say, is probably...
No. I'm going to move it to 54.30. It's our third adjustment.
Yeah.
We've only been down 11 sleds.
54.5 seconds, that'll get you in.
We're not as
Beyond
smart.
that,
we're not as smart as we think we are.
we're not as smart as we think we were either. So Dom Parsons, 11th, should be in.
Speed part of the track, his right foot's coming up. And then, you know, pretty good bullet form for a 6'3" athlete.
Not bad at all. So 18 sleds down out of our field of 36. We're halfway through. Next up, Rhys Thornbury for New Zealand, the 27-year-old. Works for the Royal Air Force in Brize Norton in Oxfordshire. 10th in the race here last year. 24th in February the year before in the World Championships. And that's how far he progressed in 12 months of full-time sliding. Ooh, uncomfortable load.
That was not a great load onto the sled. But,
yeah, it looks like the power step just
so this is going to be low 49, most likely. 49.5, not bad. Considering that slip, people have had much better starts than he's had. He's the 13th best start. I bet he's got top 10 speed, so...
Well, he's one of those athletes in the group coached by Martin Rettel. Last year was his first year of full-time sliding, and this year he's just building on that. He is getting quicker and quicker. He's a regular top 10 threat.
Didn't qualify in Lake Placid, did not qualify last week in Wittenberg, but 2 9th place finishes in between in Whistler and Park City.
Driving himself towards the top 10 at the moment. He's in 10th place on the
speed too. It's a good run considering we thought he had a start mishap.
9th place maybe ahead of Guggenberger. 10th it is. Yeah, a 10th ahead of Dave Kreshcheshin. So that moves.
It's a good run.
Yeah.
13th best start. You fly yourself into 10th place. That's great for this. What do you call him? A tech hit? What are you? Military? Bomb tech.
Bomb head.
Bomb head. There's a little slip here.
Yeah,
He's
the
coming
last
down.
step. Well, in fact, it was the previous step. He just got himself off balance,
It was not a smooth entry under the sled, but I'll give him credit. He had good velocity out of curve 1 into 2.
Everyone, love you, Amy.
Got a whole load of wishes from a primary school back in New Zealand. Next up, 23-year-old Korean Jisoo Kim, 5th ever World Cup start for Jisoo. He made his debut here in February 2017, so less than 12 months ago. His best, Park City this year, he was 11th.
Because of the start. Watch the start.
And look at the style, you know, it looks like...
This is a good athlete here.
Looks like Young when he's sprinting.
486. They say he's as good as Young at the start. Now look at him go up and down though. Let's see if he's got 50-kilometer speed. 50.3. That's unbelievable speed.
Rub on the wall, just a fraction slower than Sun Bin Young in terms of that first corner velocity.
But he's already lost it back 300. So obviously that little, we saw him in curve 2 go up and down a little bit. That cost him. This is a former long jumper, and boy, the Korean coaches. Charlie, when I talked to him about it, he said, this kid can run. This kid has got some talent.
Well, like Yun, only 23 years old. He knows the North American tracks better, so he's still learning here, but still in fourth place. What a run.
Wow.
6. You know, even if he drops to 10th, still he's
Two
only
Koreans in
had,
the top 10.
you know, this is his first race here. 7th. Wow.
Look at that. Richard Bromley looking at that.
Richard
He knows.
Bromley. Yeah.
They said, I said, how could he start when he came in for the headshot at Park City? They said, almost as good as Young. Look at that. That's his personal best ever run down a track in a World Cup. Watch the entry onto the sled. Look at his neck come up and get on there with that cat-like movement, not to alter anything. And look at, he's got that early line into 1 like we saw Dukars, the leader, have.
He looks like a happy boy, and so he should. 20 sleds down. Martin Stukor's leads by 700s from Sunbin Young and Nikita Tregibov. Jisoo Kim, sensational 7th. First of 2 World Cup debutants today. 26-year-old Brennan Marcus Wyatt was 26 yesterday, former wide receiver for the Swansea Titans. And this, I gather, should be a quick getaway. Looking for something in the nicest.
Excellent.
488.
Excellent.
What a rocket start.
What's your sport? Football. I go soccer. No, American football. And he told me he caught a, you know, a 61-yard bomb. He had a 98-yard run.
First time on a sled 3 years and 1 week ago. He didn't know about skeleton until he watched Lizzie Arnold win gold 4 years ago.
So, you know, this is what happens when you go out and recruit, like the British always have, and bring in guys who can run.
Good run, 4th place on the split times.
His World Cup debut.
World Cup debutant, Marcus Wyatt. Wow, happy late birthday.
Yeah, yesterday was his birthday.
8th place, okay, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Great run from Marcus Wyatt. I know his development coach Mark Wood is watching. Woody,
this is
done it
going to
again.
be something. There's Eric Bernardus, the American, coaching them, and wow, what a way to start his career. The last 2 guys down, rookies, what do they have? Great start times.
Yeah.
3rd best start from him, Marcus Wyatt, and then the Korean, you know, unbelievable. The Korean had the 2nd best start, Kim. So it's about start times. If you got to start, you got a chance to make mistakes on the way down and still finish in the top 10.
And an audience watching him on the BBC. That's a great way to make a mark.
Camera on, looks like he's been doing this.
Yeah, good stuff for Marcus Wyatt. Well, there you go. Swansea Titans have another big star. Next up is Vladislav Marchenkov of Russia, 21-year-old, one of the younger athletes in the field. His 5th ever World Cup start. Personal best, 8th place in Winterberg last week.
Surprise, this is the first Russian we've seen without a start time in men's or women's field.
Well, at the moment, he's kind of a standby, isn't he? He's not one of the, you know, he's not the Tretyakov-Tregibov. But he might make the field, and Tretyakov definitely won't.
That's unbelievable. This will be the best Russian in the field, if he makes it. Right now, he's at 17th.
Well, no, Tregibov is up in 3rd place, so...
I stand corrected.
Now, in 20th is Dean Timmings. Tretyakov's already been bumped by Marcus Wyatt. So Tregibov... Marchenkov, 15th.
He'll be in the field.
Wow, there's 18 more to come.
Yeah, I forget.
I know.
A large field here today in the Igls track.
Yeah.
Through and down.
Across the line in 12th, that should be enough.
Flat.
Yeah.
So we adjusted the time to 54:30. Ooh, boy, did they stop quick there.
Yeah. We saw Thomas Dukors being somersaulted over the foam last week, didn't we? You know, you can go through it, you can get thrown sideways off the sled, you can go over the top.
So he did pretty good considering the start. 17th best start, drove him down into, drove himself into 12th.
High line in
good
the
line here.
Kreisel.
Look at his toes. He's very comfortable on the entrance to 8, and that's the 2-corner combination 8-9 that gives you all your speed in the bottom.
Does look relaxed, doesn't he? 21-year-old Vladislav Marchenkov. Next up is 32-year-old John Daly of the USA. Last time he raced here was in 2014, prior to the Sochi Olympics, when he finished in 5th spot.
You know, usually a good starter, but a couple weeks ago we noticed he didn't have a good start. Last week improved. See what he does here, 5:03. Not bad, 13th best start. Knows the track well. Martin, one thing we've noticed this week is he might be the king of social media in the field.
No question.
He's the king of social media. Some of the things he's been posting have been a little hilarious.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of a Monty Python in him, too.
If you want to follow somebody entertaining, follow him on Instagram or Twitter. He is very, very full of fun. 3,300's back, 10th place. Good slide from John.
Yeah. Ooh, skid there, though. That's going to cost him. 40 back now. 9th. Skid out of the Kreisel. So he does another skid there. 98.7. I can't believe he's going to hang on to top 10. 11th. Yeah, those two skids really cost him, probably 13th or so.
Got good speed, though, at the line. 12th place, ahead of Marchenkov and Reese Thornbury, and out goes Riet Graf of Switzerland.
Boy, to have two skids like that and still finish in that position, looks like Mr. Daly is starting to build a little bit of momentum.
Well, after a very so-so time in North America, comes to Europe, and he was 10th last week, and he could be in the top 10 again here this week.
He was 29th in Whistler, but watch this skid here. A little late, tries to stay off the wall. Look at them, this is into the 8 curve.
Just trying to adjust his line in there, yeah.
Their hair looks good.
Oh, no, it's good at the back, John. Better get back in the spa after the race. Next up is Ander Mirambel, 34-year-old from Spain, 24th of our 36 starters. 17th here last year, and he was 9th in the European Championships last season.
Well, Anders needs to start here. 5:06, something like that. It really help his efforts. 16. Now, 49-kilometer speed will give him a chance. Now, we're not talking podium. We're talking get in the field. 48.9. Right on the edge.
All right. Another one of the athletes coached in the group by Martin Rettel and his band of happy followers.
This is a tough track for him. You don't have a start on this track, then you have to have the perfect run on the way down.
21st place on the splits all the way through here.
Not good there.
Oh, drifted out left to the wall, didn't quite hit it. 20th place, but he needs 5 or 6 behind to really stand a good chance of making the field. He's in at the moment, and
good speed.
Both Swiss are out. 19th, he's ahead of Alex Hansen.
Don't know if this is going to be enough, but this is
18th, 17th will give him at least a bit of wriggle room. 18th.
Well, it was a good drive down the bottom part of the track, considering the deficient start time.
Yeah, of all the tracks where the start is going to show you up, this is the one.
54.44, we're saying 54.30 is the cut, but
could be. Well, he doesn't look overjoyed with that run.
Yeah.
But again, only 2 training days for everybody.
Start, really put him behind the 8 ball.
Ooh, and drifted out a little into the corner.
He gets on that. I like that line there. Here, watch him come out too far to the right side of our screen. See, he's hugging that wall. Yeah. That took a lot of steering on the exit, so he might have been a little late there.
Yeah. 25th to 36 starters, USA's Greg West, the 32-year-old, 7th World Cup start. Although he was subbed in for his first 2, he said this is effectively his World Cup debut season. He raced here in the Intercontinental Cup and European Cup.
14th start, 20th best start, so he's going to have a lot to challenge. 49.
Yeah.
Can he get 49 speed? 49.3. Pretty good speed.
Couple of hundreds quicker than Ander Mirambel, who we just saw. So
that's the velocity. So he had a bad start time, but improved the velocity with his entry onto the sled and his turnaround first curve. 20th to 19th to 20th. He's on the wrong side of that wall.
Came a little sharp off the Kreisel.
He'll be doing a commentary this afternoon for the women's skeleton event for us. 98.9. He's 20th. Boy, this is not
right
very
on the
good
bubble.
speed.
Now up to 18th place on the split times, ahead of Ander Mirambel.
He's coming back.
And he's going to bump
17th.
Alex Hansen, 17th. So
Not
he's
bad.
got 3 behind him.
Pretty good. 20th best start. Drove himself into 17th on the bottom.
Tied with Kevin Boyer, who started 4.97, and Greg West off 5.14. Well,
he's tied, yeah, so that's an advantage. That's an advantage for him to tie.
Yeah.
So he's 1900s better, so he eclipses.
Oh, didn't quite get the start. He kind of overbalanced a little loading, but
down here in Mr. Kreisel, to watch him do the same thing Anders Mirabel did. Come out to the right side, our right, his left, too close to that wall, and then he entrances into 8.
Yeah, stepped on his sled, second time this year. 26th of our 36 starters, 22-year-old Wang Jiangung of China.
This will be interesting.
Yeah, 4th World Cup start. He raced here in November last year in the Intercontinental Cup. He had 2 races. He was 7th in the first, 23rd in the second, and that's his kind of level of experience at the moment.
Couldn't race in Germany last weekend. Something about Chinese and the Germans don't have a passport relationship there.
Yeah.
It's pretty shocked to hear that.
Well, which might be a bit of a problem when we go to Altenburg after Christmas. I'm sure that you saw his coach, Jeff Payne. I'm sure that they'll be trying to sort that out, because that can't be an issue in the run-up to the next Olympic Games, which, of course, will be in Beijing 2022.
98.5, 21st on the splits here.
Short on experience, but the season started with an enormous wallop for him in Lake Placid, where he got a sensational 7th place. He's in the race at the moment, bumps Florian Auer.
54.26, so he's on that number. You said 54.30.
Well, Greg West,
he's
100th ahead of him, so 17th equal. Kevin Boyer, Greg West, and Wang Jiangung of China are 100th apart, the 3 of them.
You know, his favorite athlete here, this is pretty strange, not that we haven't seen it, it's Usain Bolt. Look at the toes coming down.
Long skid there. Billy Schneider, the coach, the sled builder.
Willie, nice to see you, Willie. Not familiar with you wearing the Chinese colors, though.
Yeah. Quietly spoken young man. Next up is 35-year-old Aussie John Farrow. 2 World Cup races here in 2011 and 2014. And he's raced here a couple other times in Intercontinental and European Cups as well. So again, another slider short on experience on this track, relatively. Ooh, bumped away from corner 1.
Yeah, this is going to be low 48, mid 48 speed. Goes up, too much pressure in curve 1 also. 48.8, that's not bad considering the deficient start time from this mechanic from down under, who's pretty good mountain biker too.
Yeah. 55 miles an hour into the Kreisel compared to the top speed of 56, and again just that early steer off in the entry rather.
Not helping himself any. He's going to have to find some magical speed here, that's pretty good speed here, but I don't think it's going to get him up the top 20.
Good lines, but he's going to have to beat Ander Mirambel, and I don't think he's going to do it from there. Mirambel at the line was 129 behind. He's already 123 behind.
20
he doesn't
seconds.
quite
Got
make
himself up there. Not enough. Mirambel will win another.
Well, when only 20 of 36 make the cut, that's, you know, that...
Hundreds.
Getting
We're
on for
talking
half
hundreds.
the field don't get a second run. That's Phil Searle, who's helping with the Developing Nation coaching.
Now watch, he comes out a little weird to the right side of our screen, then he comes back to the middle quickly. See him turn away from the wall? See, he goes back to the middle quickly. The other slides, we saw him come right down that wall.
Yeah.
Not that any one of those 3 lines are the proper line.
So John Farrow misses the cut. Getting increasingly tough now. Next up is Barrett Martineau for Canada. 26-year-old had a fractured shin in the summer, so still trying to recover his speed. He is one of the quickest starters. 16th here in the World Cup last year, 19th in the World Championships, February 2015.
28th last week in Winterberg.
Yeah. 5:06.
17th best. So if at the bottom, if he's the 17th, he'll probably make the cut. So 54.26 is the time. No, more than that. 54.44 is Ander Mirabel's time. And right now, 17 to 17.
At the moment, he's in the race.
Well, he should, with the experience that this ski jump coach has got.
Sliding down to 19th.
Who drift on the other side there, different lines than we've seen.
21st.
Wow.
He's out of the race. He's losing speed.
Wow.
And, you know, with 2 different days, totally different track conditions, guessing your runner setup is really...
Now he's coming back. Good speed on the bottom into the fog.
Yeah, fog's returning. Blowing off the ice, and here we go.
Great.
19th, and out goes Ander Mirambo.
Tied. He's tied. We have 2 ties for 17 and 19. The Chinese.
So that's 4 sleds covered by 100th of a second.
Yeah.
So you're either going to beat them all or none of them.
Yeah,
That's the way, you know.
Yeah.
Or obviously, or tie. Well, he's in at the moment, and
Well,
Ander Mirambo is out.
if one guy goes ahead of them, we're going to have 21 athletes in the race, I think, right?
Yes, because then...
They have to get to 16th to do that.
Yeah.
So this is the lines. Barrett somehow took a deficiency in the middle part of the track and had a speed in the bottom.
So 54.26 is the magic number now you've got to beat to get in the race. Hiro Takahashi, 33-year-old, new Schneider sled for him this season. 12th here in 2013, but has not made the cut since then in a World Cup race. You know,
And
that
this is a
season...
top 10 guy.
That season, 12-13, we thought the Japanese were really starting to fly. And it's just kind of gone backwards since then. Now, their new coach, Kyle Chess, is doing an awful lot, I think, for momentum with the team.
501's a decent start for this baseball fanatic. That I discussed the Yankees getting Stanton, and of course the Japanese star going to the California Angels and the LA Angels. And you know, then I look at his bio for the heck of it, and his favorite movies, Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah, well, you know.
Would you understand that?
There's an awful lot of people would tick that box as well. 12th at the start, he's 13th at the moment, so comfortably in the second heat. A tight exit off the Kreisel.
He's doing pretty good here.
14th. Can't allow
That's
it to
a good
drift.
exit there, though. 97.7 is excellent.
Yeah. 60.7 miles an hour, building the speed.
115's not good, though. That's not a good speed there. That's it's a couple of kilometers down to the previous
He's going to be right with Martineau and Gang, and he's 17th, and that means the Martineau and Gang are now 20th.
Yeah,
so
there's what
he's
we needed. So now we have 2 tied for 18, 2 tied for 20. At this pace here, we'd have how many sleds? 21 sleds in the field.
Yeah. So, yeah, unless we get ties with Martineau and Gang, it'll be 21. So Hiro makes it in. Hiro Takahashi. It's a good run.
Lost speed on the bottom. Right there might have been one of it right there.
Yeah.
His head was way down. Watch his head. Watch him point his head down. He's been sliding since 2003, and he was a little late off that 11-12 into the fog.
Well, he's in the field, 29th of our starters. 30th of 36 is Alexander Auer, 26-year-old from Innsbruck, Austria. And you'll be glad to know, Chipmunk fans,
look at this.
that Mr. Boggles is hibernating, but well, 11th World Cup start.
Into the fog at the top and bottom.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the fog, with the moisture it provides the ice, does it reduce friction?
Yeah, there is a very slight possibility it could just be helping speed. Now, 19th at the start. Can he make it in the heat? His brother's already been bumped. 21st.
Anybody smart out there wants to send us a tweet, tell us if it would reduce friction, because that's above our pay grade.
2 years old he was when he first went off the top of the track. All right, he was, you know, laid on the sled by his dad, but nevertheless, they've been on ice a long time, the Hours.
Yeah, out of the top 20.
Yeah.
He's going to have to find a secret Austrian shortcut here.
Now, the battle of the Auer brothers. Florian is currently 23rd, but Alex slips out to 26th.
Maybe the moisture, maybe the fog is diminishing the time. Good form.
And across the line, 24th, and he is, what, 5 hundredths behind his brother. Florian wins again. It's getting closer, though.
Yeah, they're going to be very disappointed, the two Auer brothers, as will the father.
Aha.
Oh, invincibility.
Okay. Well, it's a bit of ice on his helmet as well, but it is a little foggy.
Needed some windshield wipers.
Yeah.
Not happy looking.
Alex, not a man to complain. There's always a smile on his face, but yeah, I wonder where we're going. 30 sleds down. Martin Stukur's the race leader from Sumbin and Nikita Tregebov on a foggy Innsbruck track. Well, there are 6 starters to go. And the first of them is the youngest man in the field. This is 18-year-old Ukrainian power athlete Vladislav Haraskovich. 5th ever World Cup start. He's also raced here in European and Intercontinental Cup.
His father yelling, but he doesn't get good starts. There's the worst start in the field from this boxing athlete who is also a physics student. That's the weirdest combination I've ever heard of.
So 30th start and 30th on the splits.
He's made the cut one time.
Yeah.
In Park City, a 13th, but that was in a wild snow race also.
Well, he's got height and mass. He's got youth on his side at only 18. May not have speed yet, but none of the sports he's been in, martial arts and wrestling and boxing, have really been about fast leg work, fast footwork maybe, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, this is pretty much a little better than he started, 38 to
28th. He's ahead of Graf, chasing down Ronald Arderset of Switzerland. 26th, ahead of Alec Hansen of Norway as well.
Not bad.
So he drove himself from a 30th start into 26th place, despite reduced visibility. Again, the sight lines for the athletes aren't very long here, so you're not looking down a long bend away.
Well, curve 9, pivotal part of the track for the speed on the bottom. Exit there, a little late. And do we see some skidding? Yep. When you have a start deficiency, you can't have any drive deficiencies. He will not make the cut.
27-year-old Briton Jerry Rice next up. 6th World Cup start for here. He's raced here in Intercontinental Cup and taken a silver medal in European Cup. First time he was here. Now let's see if he too can make the field. His teammate Marcus Wyatt, the rookie, in 9th place after a sensational run. And 5:04, that's not a bad getaway as well, but he needs a clean run to go with it.
Found out he worked on the Cresta run for a couple, for one winter. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did.
Cresta, which is just like this. It was the sport that was in the 28 and 48 games in Samoritz. But the Cresta sled has an extension on it where you can slide as you go to the curve, you slide the sled out.
The beginner sleds do, definitely, but from when they go from the top, the real nutters, no disrespect, they use modern skeleton sleds like this. So it was the birthplace of skeleton sliding, wasn't it? Absolutely, and still is. 13th place. It's a really good run from Jerry Rice.
This is going to bump those two guys in 20th.
All right, 16th, but he's in the field at the moment, and you're right, we will lose Barrett Martineau and Wang Kung of China, and 15. We do. 15th place, tied, another tie with Dave Cheshin. So he's in.
We told you about hundredths of seconds. Well, there's hundreds of seconds all across our leaderboard here, especially down. So then...
so 54.26 doesn't get in the race. So we weren't far off.
Well,
with 25, you were better.
54.30.
Yeah, 54.30, we weren't far off. Well, he's in. Big smile from Jerry Rice.
And they're missing out. The two guys in 21st place, guess how much they missed out on the cut bar?
100th.
Now, you got Boyer and Greg West here that are on the bubble combined. So a couple North Americans that are, well, you got an Italian coming down here who lives in Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary cop. After this, he goes back to work.
Yeah, he does double
Christmas
shifts.
And New Year.
He'll be working Christmas Day to make up for all this time away.
He will. Joe Cicchini, 35-year-old. Last race here was in the World Champs in 2016. Didn't do the World Cup here last year. That was Mattia Gaspari.
Still not 100% physically.
Yeah, a long way from that. He's just grinding on. Had a double hernia at the start of the season.
He just had a double line in a curve 2. 49 flat, not bad considering the speed. The start time, 27th start. Yep. That wasn't the 27th speed, but he makes a mistake there.
See if he can drive himself a little further up the order. Don't think he's going to make the start, make the second heat rather. 28th place, losing a little bit of ground. Elbow out there, and again, little counter steer. Trying to get a good line down into the labyrinth. Here everything flies at you fast. You're doing 70 miles an hour and just flick-flacking from corner to corner to corner. Big finish curve and across the line. 31st place with a 55.06. So that ends his competition for the day.
Greg West and Kevin Boyer breathe a sigh of relief. They've got a couple more sleds, and I don't know.
3 to go. I think it would be an upset if Boyer gets bounced out.
Boyer and West combined.
Yeah.
Maybe Brendan Doyle, the Irishman. Doran Vilku, I don't know.
We'll wait and see. Well, that's the first of our two Italians, and Joe getting bumped away there into turn 8, just over on the expansion joint. That's all you need. So he'll head home and get back to work. Next up is his younger teammate, Manuel Schwertz, the 21-year-old from Südtirol. 5th ever World Cup start for him. Last year he did race here in World Cup, was 28th.
Started in luge, so they've stolen away from luge, where the Italians are pretty good at luge. Speed, tall guys, 6'2".
5.12's not a bad getaway.
No, a decent 48.9 wasn't the speed he should have had, though, and you could see some drifts in the exit and the curves up top. You can't do that. You have to be a missile up here that take advantage of every single aerodynamic 100th of a second available to you.
There's a big flop of snow just as you get off the exit there on the left-hand side. It's obviously flumped in from a tree branch overhanging, or a bit of roof overhanging. Not that there is much roof overhanging here.
Feet apart, 115.
30th place off the 25th start, so he doesn't make the cut either. 54.70.
We're down to 2 more for Greg West and Kevin Boyer.
I think that Greg West and Kevin Boyer are going to be in the second heat. There's the guys here who are starting in the 30s. That's their respective to their World Cup rankings, or their overall rankings.
Toe touch before the first curve. That's like throwing out an anchor.
Yeah, and you can
look
see
at
that
the eyes, look at the eyes. What
sled's going left,
pictures.
body is still leaning right,
So he wasn't comfortable.
No.
And his time at the bottom shows it was not a comfortable descent down this Innsbruck or Igls track.
2 to go from the foothills of Carpathian Mountains in Romania is 31-year-old Dorin Velicu. 2 World Cup races here in his career. 16th in 2015, and holding this lead, Maria Matsalou, who'll be racing in the women's race this afternoon.
400-meter runner from the track and field background.
His father's a mountain rescue guy, and in fact, he's training to do the same as well.
So if I ask you, what's his favorite athlete, who do you think it is?
Usain Bolt?
Ilie Nastase.
Ilie Nastase, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, massive Romanian hero in the 80s and 90s.
But he's a generation past that, so
yeah.
He's born in 86, I think.
So Dorin Velicu, 22nd fastest start, but the speed not there at the top of the track. It's drifted out to 28th place.
28th still on the splits.
Yep, so where is he? He's ahead of Ronald Arderset and behind Alex Hansen.
High there in 10, too.
Yeah.
He doesn't have this under control yet. Oh, he steered around the bottom of one of those speed curves.
Yeah, all getting a little quick at the bottom of the track. 31st, 54.76, 600 slower than Manuel Schwertz of Italy, who we've just seen. And again, you know, for guys that haven't raced an awful lot here, a day in the snow and a day on the ice, not really great preparation for today. A quick track today in the racing, no question. Cuts the corner here.
Yeah, really, then up high and little airborne, which is, you know, all that pressure on one runner. You know, and that's, you know, those pictures say it all.
You know, he's a meter late with the steer at 70 miles an hour, and that's what you pay, you know. So the Sliding Irish, this is 32-year-old Dubliner Brendan Doyle, making his World Cup debut. We met him once before in last year's World Championships. And this is his first race on this track as well, so all sorts of firsts for the Dublin Cop.
Well, he used to be a cop. Now he's an ambassador for Irish mental health charity. My Mind is called. So
lost his father in the summer, and
ooh, drift, big time drift.
Hoping to do well here in his memory. 27th at the start, and out to 32nd place. A glance on the wall. Still very new to skeleton. You can see his head is up, trying to keep his shoulders pinned down to the sled. Trying to instill that discipline in yourself right from the very beginning.
It's all about Olympic selection and qualification. There's so many agendas going on. We couldn't figure it out the other night. We have no clue. You throw that Russian Olympic flag thing into the sequence, and I don't know if anybody in the planet's got a correct answer at the moment.
You need to be Tuffy Latour with a slide rule to work it out. 35th spot for Brendan Doyle. He beats Dean Timmings of Australia and Alexander Tretyakov of Russia. But then Brendan at least got onto his sled. So Brendan Doyle completes our first run with a 55.49. Good man yourself. Skiddy is right. Very different from the last day of training when there was 2 inches of snow and a little slip as he loaded onto the sled.
Comfortable. Was not a comfortable entry onto that little tray, that breakfast tray.
A little nervy at the start, perhaps his first ever World Cup start. Well, he beats Alexander Tretyakov. Not many people do that on their World Cup debut. Our race leader for the first time since November is Martin Stukors of Latvia, but the gap is just 0.07 of a second.
Perfect video game drive down the track by the guy who's won 8 straight times here. And surprised because his nemesis, Sun Bin Young, could not match his time, even though he had a better start time of 5 or 600ths. And it's still close, though. Anybody's race.
The battle is on. Is Yun going to come from behind to win his 4th straight? Or will Martin Stukors take win number 2 of the season and another European Championship gold medal? Well, he's in front of Nikita Tregibov and Christopher Grote here. They're the other European Championship medalists at the moment. And as we get down towards the tail of the field, look how close the battles are. A tie for 15th. And down in 19th place, we've got a tie. Kevin Boyer and Greg West. Barrett Martineau and Weng Zhengeng of China do not make it in, nor do Ander Mirabel, Florin and Alex Auer, John Farrow, Vladislav Haraskevich, Alex Hansen, Ronald Arderset, Manuel Schweitzer, Doran Veliku, Reed Graff, Joe Cicchini, Brendan Doyle, Dean Timmings, and Alexander Tretyakov.
That is just a disaster to see that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Even the greatest fall occasionally, and Alexander Tretyakov is last. Our second heat comes up, first sled on ice at 11:45 local, 10:45 Greenwich Mean Time. That's 30 minutes from now. Join John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the rest of the IBSF TV crew here in Innsbruck. We'll see you then. Bye for now.